Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. So, the thick racists have been out in force this weekend, embarrassing themselves again. From Reform UK supporters saying that Nigel Farage should be barred from ever becoming Prime Minister, accidentally, of course, to forgetting that PETA actually campaign against all animal exploitation, to getting their knickers in a twist over boxed fake Christmas trees. I'll tell you what, if these people ever found themselves with a real problem in their lives, they'd probably melt down completely. But let's kick off with one of the pet projects of former Reform UK racist Rupert Lowe. He's the one who famously called the authorities to get a group of people raising money for motor neurone disease arrested. They were raising money by rowing from Land's End to John O'Groats. They'd only got as far as Great Yarmouth when Rupert Lowe attacked them for being channel crossing migrants. All rather embarrassing for a few reasons. First, their rowing boat looked nothing like the sort of dinghies used by asylum seekers crossing the channel. Like, no resemblance whatsoever. Second, this was off the coast of Great Yarmouth. That's a channel crossing, is it? It's nowhere near the channel. Also, why did he think they were rowing parallel to the coastline rather than towards it? Well, he was at it again this weekend. His particular brand of racism tends to come in various flavours of Islamophobia mostly. One of his signature themes is attacking halal meat for being unethical. And yeah, okay, non-stunt killing of animals, not my cup of tea either. However, a few things here. First, he doesn't argue against shachicha, which makes it kosher, which is the same sort of deal. Exactly the same process from the animal's point of view. Second, he supports fox hunting, which is literally the most brutal form of animal killing we have in Britain. Third, we have issues with chicken in particular in the UK, in theory being killed humanely, but we know they often are not. He never raises that issue. So do we really believe a man who is fine with ripping foxes apart alive is opposed to halal on animal cruelty grounds? But one of the things he and his merry band of racists were up to this weekend was prompted by PETA. They'd put out a message emphasising that turkeys don't want to be eaten for Christmas, right? I mean, they argue against the exploitation of animals for all sorts of things, including food, so it's quite normal for them. But the racists all came out and said, oh, why don't you criticise halal then? Go on, why don't you ever do that? Oh, double standards, double standards. They do. They're famous for criticising all exploitation of animals. It's sort of their thing. They're basically vegan central. And a quick Google search will show you this if you didn't know. So I did a quick Google search, posted PETA's own article attacking halal to one of the more prominent racists. But given how easy it was to find, it shows that these people have no interest in posting anything truthful. Like, it's one thing for someone to get something wrong. Another to post something that they've no good reason to suppose is untrue. Like, at that point, you would have thought, so, oh, I wonder, you can understand these sort of people think, I wonder if PETA ever bothered to attack halal. Let's do a quick search. Oh, they do. Okay, fine, fair enough. They didn't even do that. Lowe went on to say that accidents on our roads are caused by foreigners who don't know how to drive in Britain. This is just a fact, he said. No, of course it's not. Nobody's allowed to drive without a suitable licence, and a licence in one country doesn't automatically allow you to drive in Britain. Needless to say, he was unable to link to any evidence for his claim. Again, just demonstrates that he and his angry followers are not interested in being truthful, only spreading hate. Oh, and he wasn't done there. He then decided to have a pop at doctors, accusing foreign doctors of being unable to speak English. But as an actual doctor pointed out, yeah, we have this thing, IELTS, it's in this country. It's an English proficiency test, which is required for quite a number of things here, including university study, but also including to get work as a doctor. Needless to say that neither Lowe nor any of his poisonous racist followers retracted what they'd said after having their errors provably pointed out. Again, they've got no interest in raising legitimate concerns, only making everyone hate one another for their own personal gratification. Well, let me tell them something. Hate thy neighbour is the opposite of Christianity. But one of my favourites was the Reform UK supporter who unwittingly said that Nigel Farage should be barred from ever becoming Prime Minister. So how did they fall into that trap? Well, they'd said that Angela Rayner, because, you know, with Starmer under pressure, lots of people are talking about who might succeed him. Angela Rayner's obviously going to be one of those people. So they said, well, with her having to resign for apparent wrongdoing, that should automatically make it impossible to become PM, shouldn't it? Well, what Angela Rayner got wrong was not understanding how a house her kid has in trust whilst under the age of 18 affects her ability to buy a flat. Well, most people don't know how that works. Very complex, specialised area of law. The solicitor she hired to manage the process didn't get it either. What she did wrong was not getting specialised legal advice when those solicitors said you might need to get specialised legal advice. The independent person investigating, who was hired by the Tories, by the way, when they were in power, said that it was a genuine mistake. She didn't take public money under false pretences or anything like that. I'll tell you who did, though, Nigel Farage. He took taxpayer money, which was available to run his office during his time as an MEP, but he used the money to fund unrelated activities instead. He was found guilty years ago, had his salary docked to recoup the misappropriated money. And there was no mistake about that. It wasn't an accident. The money was supposed to be for staff to help him with his duties as an MEP. He used it to pay staff to run his political party, UKIP. So she presumably has to suggest that Farage should certainly be barred from ever becoming Prime Minister. I mean, I often said, while the Conservatives were in power, it offended me that we were being ruled by stupid evil. I get that evil people are motivated to use politics in order to advance their own greed. But when you end up being led by people whose lives don't even make sense, it's just embarrassing. It reflects very badly on the country. And the same will be true if these half-wits ever find themselves in power again. I get how some of the lies can work. Some of them are hypothetically plausible, and it's not always easy to research the truth of the matter. But some of the smorgasbord of racism that was on offer this weekend was as quick to disprove as it was to read. If people fall for it, it means they're not even making the smallest effort towards fact-checking. I mean, then there was the meltdown over Christmas trees. Every bloody year. So Tesco have brought out some fake Christmas trees in a box, but they've called them evergreen trees. The racists melting down about it. Why? It's just for marketing. Not everyone celebrates Christmas, but if you can persuade some people to join in a secular celebration where you put up a fake tree and then buy loads of food, that works well for supermarkets, right? But these people are losing their minds over it. One even attacked the idea of naming them evergreen trees. Oh, heaven forbid we should offend people. I've never heard of anyone being offended by the concept of a Christmas tree. The reason's marketing, pure and simple. Yet to sell them to people who aren't celebrating Christmas as well if they can. The people complaining about hypothetical people being offended were themselves expressing offence. Literally saying they were offended by people being offended despite no evidence that anyone other than these snowflakes is being offended. And all I can say, this is the sort of shit that they have to spend their time getting worked up about. Their lives must be wonderful. These are the sort of problems I imagine multi-millionaire retirees having. People have got no problems about the cost of living. Their life's wonderful, but they've not got much to fill it with. They're retired. They haven't got any hobbies. So they just find things to moan about. Nobody who has genuine problems in their lives gives a shit what's written on a cardboard box to describe a product, as long as it's accurate. Nor give a shit what colour skin their doctor has. And they should not complain if they vote to allow these arseholes in and it doesn't turn out to be what they thought it was. I don't want to see anyone complain in the 2030s if we end up with a reform government, whether it's next time or the time after. The American Trump voting farmers who've had to foreclose on their farms after his trade war destroyed their business. The guy who used to export wood to China who voted for Trump, despite him promising to trade with China during the election, now had to close his sawmill down. The Latinos who voted for Trump now find themselves too scared to leave the house due to ICE patrols. I don't want to see any of these people in Britain doing the same. They've been given ample warning. You do not get to blow off your own foot with a shotgun to cure an itch on your ankle and then complain you have difficulty walking. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel for more content. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I'll see you later.